right, everybody. It's the chart of utter contempt. So let's get to it. Since this is the first installment of the chart of utter contempt, I'm going to go ahead and break down kind of how the chart works and let you see some of the things that I have utter contempt for already. And if you would like to throw some things at me and see where they would fall on the chart for my next installment of the chart of utter contempt, feel free. To make it onto my chart of utter contempt, there are three main ways to get there. Willful ignorance. You know it's wrong, but you're doing it anyway. Damage to others. Damage yourself? Psh. Damage others? Not cool. Profiteering. It is extra horrible when you know it's wrong, it's hurting someone else, and you're making cash on it. Guaranteed, you're going to be at the top of my list if you encompass all three of those. I'd also like to note, I reserve the right to add anything I want for any reason onto this list. That's right, it's a little emotional too. So let's get on to the chart of utter contempt. My chart of utter contempt is arranged in a scale of 1 to 5. 1, being it doesn't bother me at all, I have no contempt for it. 5, oh, I'm so pissed off, motherfucker, god damn it! I'm probably making a YouTube video. Yep. So remember, there's no 0. 1 means no contempt. 5 means utter contempt. No contempt, utter contempt. The range up, the range down. We're going to start with a 1. Fiction. Fiction, it doesn't bother me at all. I actually rather enjoy a good story once in a while, so fiction would go right here on my chart of utter contempt. The next one is name brands. I know that might seem like a funny thing, but I think a lot of times you can get just about the same thing that's just as good for cheaper as long as it doesn't have a name brand. But sometimes the name brand stuff is actually a little bit better quality, but not most of the time. So for me, that kind of saddles between the 2 and 3. But note, the more expensive the name brand is, without dramatic quality increase, the higher it will go up on my chart of contempt. Idiot drivers. We deal with these. Everybody deals with these every day. And they're annoying and they piss me off. So they go at about, a real low 4. Sometimes less, sometimes a little more. It depends on what their actions are. An excellent number 3, sometimes up to 4 and sometimes down to 2, is restaurant service. That's right, because it might make me mad while I'm in the restaurant, but for the most part, I'll get the fuck over it and enjoy the rest of my night, even if I get the worst fucking service in the world. Scams. Now, scams really piss me off. And the more they take advantage of poor people, the angrier I get. Scams tend to lean towards a 5, but sometimes down in a 4. A good scam can certainly make me make a YouTube video. Alright, next we've got Joyce Myers. As you can see her there with a guy holding an umbrella over her, she gets out of a car and going into a jet. And Joyce Myers is a televangelist. That's right, she sells God, and she lives like a king. So Joyce definitely lands up on my number 5. Now, that picture's a little big, so let's just go ahead and trim it to fit. A good number 2 for me, cell phones. I don't really like cell phones. They annoy me a little bit, but I also do like them because, your car breaks down or anything bad happens. A cell phone is an excellent thing to have. So there's cell phone, and it's hanging out on, the number 2 spot. Now here I've got Frank Gehry, and he makes crazy buildings, and I like his buildings, but Here he's saying something ridiculous. His quote is, "My name is Frank Gehry and my buildings don't leak." After one of his buildings leak and caused $300 million worth of mold damage. So that's not just itty bitty, $300 million worth of damage. So yeah, that definitely kind of straddles the 4 and 5. We're hanging out next to scams because that's just such personal arrogance. Everyone can be wrong. And sometimes, like, when you commit a $300 million mistake, you should probably admit up to it. Alright, I am not a smoker, but I'm actually going to stand up for the smokers here because since the year 2000, there have been 73 tax increases on cigarettes on the federal level. I really don't think that's fair. It's not cool. We shouldn't punish the smokers that much. We should start going after the people who eat the ho-hos too. So, I'm gonna say the government going after groups of people because they're easy victims and not really because they have a right to, as a 5. So that's the government interfering in our lives when they shouldn't, when it's not really their right. I think we all recognize this lady here. She is Bhutto. She was recently assassinated. I saw this coming. I think a lot of people saw this coming. It was really, really sad, and I wish it wouldn't have happened. But because I knew it was going to happen, and she went back to the country anyway, I'm actually going to have to put it at a 3, because I feel like she kind of went back in a situation. She had to go back in the situation, but yeah, she knew it was going to happen. She knew it was going to happen. She talked about it before it happened. She went there, it happened. So I have some contempt for that, for what happened to her. But she could have stayed in another country and not had it happen to her, so there she sits. Next we've got, I'm sure everybody remembers the Atlanta water crisis. Elected officials allowed 1 million gallons of fake snow to be made as the southeast ran dry. And then the mayor called for prayer twice to bring water. That's going to go right up on 5, because the government is supposed to be here to protect the people. And one thing that people absolutely need is water. So if our government can't maintain the water supply for us, they're pretty much worthless. That's pretty much the most basic thing that the government needs to do for us. And of course, the mammer jammer, religion. Religion is, of course, going to get a very stout 5 with me. For all the reasons and the 100 and some videos I've made discussing religion. I don't like it, I don't care for it, it victimizes people. It's a scam. See, religion, scam. Religion is a scam, but it's the biggest scam because we all accept it like it's okay. People stand up for it and it gets tax exemption from the government. A scam that gets tax exemption from the government. Making me sad. So this is it. This is my chart of utter contempt. You know now how my structure system works. If you have anything that you would like to find out where it sits on my chart of utter contempt, please feel free to ask.